so close.
Well, I just have a feeling we're going to get a 5th game, but if that's the case, CLG need to win this one. We'll see what happens here in the draft for game number 4. Rumble, of course, instantly banned away. We'll see what adaptations CLG have, and I think the Vlad just has to go.
Yeah, I think as well the Vladimir has been a big problem for them, unless they're going to pick something like a Cassiopeia into it and hard counter it, because Immortals have shown that they do not mind picking their solo lanes blind if they are Echo and Vladimir.
Respect still to Aphromoo though, as Bard will continue to be banned throughout the entire series. Really respecting his prowess on the champion here. Seems like they are going to take it a little slower here in the champs. Like, I can't really blame them.
These are the slowest that we've seen the bans go by today so far.
Yeah, first couple are those target bans, and then they're getting now down to how many of these high tier picks do I want to give over? You know, the Gangplanks, the Vladimirs, these type of things, these first pick champions, because this is a reason why, you know, Immortals did choose to have RekSai in the last game when the choice was there, and now CLG still going to be on blue.
Yeah, CLG selected blue side for this, even though red side has won every single time so far. And it's not necessarily because of counter picks or anything like that. They just think that, you know, they favor themselves getting a high priority champion here. And I'm interested to see if CLG go for another RekSai first pick. And there it is.
Cheer goes up for a ban. Very rarely would we hear cheers for bans, but the Vladimir, CLG adapting here, take that one out.
Yep, they dropped the Sivir ban for that. So Immortals, see if they pick that one up or if it gets first picked here by CLG.
Well, now, of course, also targeted away. What do Immortals have in store for this final ban here? Looks like it's Syndra, actually.
Oh, so they dropped the Gnar ban for the Syndra here. So the Gnar was first picked every single game in the Team Liquid series by Darshan on CLG. So they don't mind first picking.
Gnar, Echo, still up also, and Huni has been very happy to go into that champion and that matchup specifically as well.
RekSai as well. It's been one of CLG's big picks on the blue side, trying to deny it away from ReignOver. I do feel like Gragas and in general, ReignOver's shown up pretty well in the series, so you probably can't pinch him there. And CLG, they are taking a long time.
And this is going to be really interesting. If you first pick Gnar, you give over RekSai Sivir, and then you pretty much have to take Karma at that point, or else you give up the Sivir Karma lane, which is still really strong.
Definitely don't want to give over all the speed boosts. Immortals definitely have been focusing on that, and it's been a reason, you know, they talked about as well, how Immortals very slippery. It's hard to pick them off, even if you do bring a bunch of globals. And there though, the renewed focus still on RekSai.
Again, I will point out that I do love how much time these teams are taking, especially in the bans. It's very important to reset, to calm yourself down. Immortals, they'll be riding high, and CLG will feel a bit of a blow, because there's the Gnar and Sivir picks there from Immortals.
Exactly. I thought if you take the Gnar, they'll take Sivir RekSai. Well, you take the RekSai, they'll slot Gnar right into that, seeing as Gangplank already off the table. And Rumble as well, which, you know, Huni is happy to play pretty much every single time he could.
CLG considering this be a... We talked about Game 3 being such an important kind of pivotal point in the series. Game 4, of course, will be important here for CLG if they do want to try and force a final game here. Preparation's important, right?
Game point, definitely important.
Thank you.
Series point.
And it's most likely the Shen again, which has been for Darshan every single game so far.
CLG again is making sure that, you know, remain calm, remain patient. So we'll likely see Shen. I wonder what else CLG, though, have in mind.
They've picked Jhin around this time as well when they've been playing it in the past. They may go with an Ashe into Sivir, see what happens, but it's still, they've been favoring that Jhin. And these are two of the AD carries that have not been favoring Jhin during the regular season.
So while they do switch it up in bans and ban out the Vladimir, they're still going to use their same strategy.
Alrighty.
For counter logic gaming.
Ooh.
Very quick, actually. Lock in there.
Cassiopeia.
That's what we've been looking for, the Cassiopeia to make her appearance. It took a long time for her to show up, but this has been highly anticipated pick, at least for us when we were doing our pick ban analysis. And we'll see what Huhi can use to deal with this. In the past, he has had problems dealing with his champion. And a lot of solo kills have come at the hands of Cassiopeia.
Yeah, and Cassiopeia, Pobelter's first game on it, I would think that you pick Talia into it, who has not been seen on the ban list at all today, which was really highly banned against Immortals in their previous series. Or highly prioritized. They were first picking it pretty much every time they could.
Yeah, if you look at it a little bit, but then you kind of get worried about the damage output later for the game. Because Talia is also kind of like Shen with that strategy where you want to push up and then
I love it.
somewhere else. Yes! Oh, the Vel'koz
Let's
finally!
go.
Well, it's been a long time. I've been waiting since the buffs after the mage rework, because the mage rework kind of hurt Vel'koz a lot. But then the buffs after that really pushed him up to the top, and he has so much damage. We talk about lacking damage output. Vel'koz does not do that. The thing he does lack is mobility and escape. So once again, CLG, they're opting with a similar strategy. They have 2 carry. They split the carries at 1 AD and 1 AP, obviously, but they're very, very low mobility, very prone to ganks, very susceptible to extra pressure. We will see if Shen is enough to keep that backline safe, though, with the standing knights that have been coming in for them.
How long have you been waiting for that Vel'koz spiel?
Literally like 3 months.
First it was your Alawi spiel, now it's your Vel'koz, something about, you know, tentacle champions, Kobe.
But honestly, though, let's just go over some of those buffs. Because Vel'koz, the thing about Vel'koz, puts out so much true damage. Everything in his kit, just you can stack up the passive thing so you can get extra true damage output, and he'll burn through a front line, he'll burn through any champion that stands in his way, so you have to be very careful. The other thing, lots of wave clear. That was one thing CLG did lack before, but you rank that up very early on Vel'koz, and he should be able to clear those out.
Yeah, and Vel'koz just overall, like you said, a lot of damage, but low mobility. Pillar comes out as the last thing. Trundle picked up here. We can interrupt the ultimate with the Trundle Pillar, put himself at risk and see if Adrian goes for that. But he can also, these are actually 2 damage dealers for CLG that have to stand their ground with their ultimates. The Vel'koz and the Jhin, they need to find a good position because if Huni makes it to the backline again, he could interrupt both of them. He can actually blow them up and see what happens here.
Yep, definitely true.
Well, we are looking through your photo submissions on Twitter and want to see more. Show us how you LCS by tweeting your pick to @LevelEsports using that hashtag LOCKIN. Fingers crossed you guys might get one more game to post those tweets, but just in case you don't, make sure you get them in early. And of course, you can keep using the team hashtags there as well.
Hashtag Vel'koz win, hashtag tentacle power.
I don't know if we actually own that hashtag.
Yeah, that might be something we don't want to go into. Definitely not Vel'koz skin picked up here, though.
I love it.
For Huhi, so
another
just
day
kidding.
at the office.
Yeah.
Gotta take his coffee.
Gotta be some other champion.
Alrighty, back on the Summoner's Rift here. CLG vs Immortals has been quite the series so far. We'll see if CLG can answer back or if Immortals will clinch that 3rd place here by taking the game.
And just one more thing about that Vel'koz. We keep going back to it, just final thing for right now, is how much practice do you actually get playing against a Vel'koz? It's not that popular of a champion right now. And the thing is you have to know your matchups. You have to know your Talia into her. You have to know your Cassiopeia into her. And the question is, how much has Pobelter had on this champion against that?
Look at this, though. We might finally get some action 1v1 or level 1 with the Braum here on CLG side. They're going for it.
Darshan needs to look for a taunt, I think. Does flash out, will ReignOver, gets himself to safety, but Adrian now the next target. Stixxay, plenty of damage here at level 1. The slowing from Vel'koz is going to stop Huni, and it's a scuffle, but no one goes down.
Ooh, they do give up on it. They got a couple of flashes out of it. So jungler and support flashes. Those are 2 of the biggest playmakers. Yeah, the Ghost was also burned, but very short cooldown on that, and the mid lane should feel a bit more comfortable. I have to say, though, on that mid lane matchup, this just kind of exacerbates the issue that Huhi has had with Cassiopeia. Vel'koz, if he gets caught by one of those poisons and Pobelter speeds up, all you have to do is dodge the delay of that knock up from Vel'koz, and you can go in for the kill because very low mobility.
Yeah, the tectonic disruption has that cast time, travel time on it. And all they had to do on CLG side was give up an exhaust for it. So it's not even like a jungler's playground for ReignOver where there's these flashes that are down, where Xmithie, now he can go invade, he can go visit the bottom lane and flash knock up and possibly pick himself up a kill.
Yeah, I mean, it is kind of bad for Immortals because ReignOver on the Elise was one thing we're looking for to try and pressure mid lane. This mid lane matchup is going to be so fun because it is so much about skill shots landing or missing and then what you do afterwards, because everyone keeping track of the small cooldowns, keeping track of the short cooldowns in these trades, definitely very big. When is your opportunity to try and go for that harass?
Well, everyone does join up with their lanes now, but it's pretty fitting that Huhi has really been the man in this series for CLG. Darshan, 4 straight Shen games in a row now. Stixxay, relatively consistent on his champions and playing very well. Hui's been the one that's changing champions up that we kind of needed to see something a little more from. And he has shown up in this series, and he will need to really go off if he's going to push CLG to a last game.
The man put out 1,200 DPM.
Gotta do it again, man.
You're like, show me more. Get that 1,500, baby.
Yeah, and he doesn't even do that much damage during the early parts of the game, but that game was incredibly long, so the Cassidon was able to power up. But Huhi has been having a great day, honestly. Even his game 1, he was looking right on point as well.
Oh, and here again, we have so much continued focus on teamwork to get control of this vision, to get these Scuttle Crabs down, and ensure that both the bottom lane and the mid lane can play with a little bit more of an aggressive style. We can already see once again CLG's bottom lane, Stixxay and Aphromoo, shoving them into the lane to force Sivir CS under turret, and trying to get some harass down on them as they do it.
A bit of poke there from CLG's duo. As you can see, Huni also was stacking up a big wave there versus Darshan, so should have the early advantage in the lane, and seems to so far. Haven't seen too much of the mid lane just yet, but like you said, there's so much intricate stuff going on. It really just is the farm and damage that traded back and forth. It's unlikely without jungler intervention that we'll see a kill.
Whoa, what a trade here from CLG.
Really nice there, Adrian. Gotta be a bit careful. We'll get out to safety, but CLG handily win that.
That Unbreakable from Aphromoo doing so much work in the trade, blocking a tremendous amount of damage, and CLG do come out ahead. Meanwhile, though, it has been the opposite story. Immortals control over top lane. This has been consistent for Huni, and he's trying to push it in once again. ReignOver does make his visit, but not quick enough to snag that scuttle away from Xmithie.
And Huhi's just had pressure the entire time, like you said. He's got that fervor of battle, so he's just constantly wailing away at Darshan, and Darshan actually had to use his teleport already because he got pushed out of lane by this Gnar that is just unrelenting.
This matchup does get, scary once Gnar does get the frozen mallet as well. But that is a long time away from us at the moment. First breakpoint we're going to look for is the level 6, of course.
Another early TP from Darshan as well. Does get in the lane safely as Huhi gets himself the blue buff.
Yep. Of course, the RekSai doesn't have to take it, give it over, so Huhi now has a lot of pressure in this lane and keep throwing out his spells. And against the Cassiopeia, honestly, she's got a mana bar, but when she's CSing, she's not really a mana-based champion. She just gets mana back from using Twin Fangs in the last hit. She gets healing, so she's a big kind of sustained champion in the lane. It's hard to push her out.
Good trade again from Darshan, actually, as he taunts Huni into that big cannon wave. Again, certainly knows his limits in these matchups, and Darshan has been consistent and impressive, especially laning versus Huni 1v1. Huni, though, probably just going to use that TP, much like Darshan did, to give himself a bit of an edge in lane, and we expect Gnar to take over. We'll see if Huni can do it again, because he could do it on Echo, but he couldn't quite do it on Gnar.
Yeah, and look at that, why he was going so far back to get his recall off. Darshan looking to try and interrupt him, but here we go on the bottom side. What a pillar.
Oh, WildTurtle doesn't quite get the spell shield down. There's a knock-up from Xmithie. First blood looking to go over to Stixxay. Blood thought is not enough. Stixxay flashes in, and he claims it.
And Aphromoo lives. Stixxay heals right there, and they get out afterwards. Another big move for CLG in the bottom lane. Xmithie controls the Scuttle Crabs, gets off the first gank. It's because ReignOver went for an early back there on the Elise, but Xmithie has been outperforming ReignOver in this series.
Yeah, ReignOver actually has had a lot of his team's deaths. One of the first ones in game 1, one of the first ones in game 3 being first blood, and honestly, like 3 of the deaths that he had previously in game 2.
CLG justifying their focus on the first pick RekSai. Xmithie controls both of the Scuttle Crabs, knows he has vision advantage, even though Adrian had a good pillar there. It's Aphromoo who gets in for the playmaking.
Yeah, and at this point, Adrian doesn't have his exhaust. He had used it previously, so he doesn't have that summoner spell available to exhaust Stixxay to stop some of that damage, to actually nullify a bit of that crit.
Well, Huni's going to return to the top lane. Doesn't quite go mega. Darshan is trying to hold the wave as best he can. Huni does have the phage parts built up after going back and did teleport back to lane as well. So things should be getting a bit better here. Darshan has also snuck in it back by the looks of things, and the mid laners are building mana items. So should see things pretty quiet there.
Yeah, sneaky little Pobelter has got a pretty sizable CS lead over Huhi actually up in this 1 versus 1, having the junglers both show on opposite sides.
Looking good so far. Pobelter pretty casually CSing these. You mentioned it already, Zirene, Cassiopeia. Pretty straightforward when it comes to taking those minions.
It's free low.
Yeah, sometimes. As Xmithie waddles his way in, gets the ward down, and ReignOver instantly spots the pink ward.
Nice pink ward, thank you for the gold.
It's unfortunate.
Did pop his Raptor buff though.
Yep. Found out where he was.
Didn't have his trinket up, unfortunately, so no options there. Tried to get some vision. You can see Xmithie is, again, keeping track of ReignOver, which has been great all series long.
And he's been doing it without Sightstone too. He's been using the Tiamat as his early clear item here, and it's also something that he might have just been gravitating towards, and that's why the RekSai is a first pick for him. It's just got such a high clear time now, and it's very versatile, and it denies it from ReignOver.
Meanwhile, Adrian has been putting in the work with the wards in the river on the bottom side so that they don't get a repeat visit from Xmithie. Meanwhile, mid lane
oh
though.
my god, Pobelter, good ultimate, gonna try and turn it around, but Xmithie's here. That'll force Pobelter away.
Oh yeah, I think Pobelter wasn't sure if Xmithie had flash or not. Had to get out of there after that one, but look at that. Talk about no fear. Neither of these teams ever backing down. He runs straight through the Vel'koz ultimate into his face to get the Cassiopeia ultimate off. If that was a 1-for-1, would have been able to have it, but Huhi knew that he had Xmithie in the wings.
Yeah, but because they push Pobelter off of it, that's going to leave the blue buff up, and Huhi is able to take that. This Vel'koz just really needs this.
Again, Xmithie. This is Xmithie affecting all of the bottom side of the map here. They've abandoned their Shen top, and Darshan's been fine with that, and the rest of CLG are flourishing.
Yeah, I have to agree. Darshan has really been soaking the majority of the punishment in top lane, but CLG certainly playing around Stixxay well. Huhi, nice little trade there. The Drake was attempted by CLG as well, but they pull off the Ocean Drake. A little ambitious, but testing the waters perhaps there for Immortals. And CLG again, their constant proactivity and how confident they've seemed when they've been playing this series has been the most impressive thing to me.
Yeah, and I'm always very quick to talk about Aphromoo and his in-game leadership, and he really is and has been for a very long time one of the NA greats. But Xmithie as well, it is multiple people shot calling for CLG, you know, adding information always is both teams. But Xmithie also does play a big part in that. And I have to say, you know, in comparison, the amount of effect that Xmithie has had, especially in this game, in comparison to the Elise of ReignOver, tremendous advantage there.
He's done a fantastic job of neutralizing ReignOver and making sure he doesn't have that same impact. Because when you think about Immortals, for the entire split, and even Spring, it's like Huni and ReignOver, right? And then the bottom lane is what they sack. Well, now, that's not really the case. The focus from CLG is on that bottom lane, and ReignOver and Huni aren't able to get off the ground. Huni is pretty much punching a brick wall on the top lane this entire series in Darshan, and not getting the advantages that he really wants as a player. But ReignOver at the same time doesn't have the ability to really help him out and push that even further, so he's kind of stagnant right now.
Meanwhile, mid lane, Pobelter earning his own advantages once again. This is the most camped mid laner in all of the North American LCS, has the most enemy jungler proximity. Yet now he's on Cassiopeia, you should. Well, he's gonna camp it.
Huhi gonna get the knockoff. That's an easy alley-oop.
I'm sorry, Pobelter.
The caster curse, Kobe.
I mean, you're not wrong.
But still, they get the Vel'koz an early kill, and so that's going to set them up to do damage to this turret and take this down for that first turret gold.
Did feel like CLG kind of got mired in the last game and maybe slowed it down a little too much. This time, nice and proactive with the ultimate there from Darshan. And they're going to get the mid turret as well. A huge burst of momentum for CLG early in this fourth.
Consistent early game control here from Counter Logic Gaming, and this is going to be no different. There is also a 10 CS lead, not very big, but is there for Stixxay in the bottom lane as he starts to build towards his Ghost Blade.
Was this the ulti? He's going to use it, ReignOver. Nice cocoon. Huhi pressuring the Elise.
Chunks him out, makes sure that he might have to back here or at least be on the opposite side of the jungle for a bit, heal up.
Yeah, it's a pretty short cooldown, plus Huhi does have blue buff right now, so it's going to be even shorter. And we'll have it for the next time they all in mid lane. Pobelter has to be much more cautious about that since Huhi's had so much support with Xmithie coming up multiple times and the Shen stand united already on display.
And Huhi was one of the least camped mid laners for himself as well. He didn't even pull a whole bunch of attention from the enemy jungle all season long. Teams were winning against CLG by going to their side lanes, but now you can't go top. Darshan's playing too defensive. You can't go bottom because Darshan shows up.
Well, I mean, you can see Xmithie's also been visiting that bottom lane. Nice Gnar from Huni, but it's just for a bit of damage. Darshan does get the W off in time, and Huni gets some damage. He's also winning in CS. Like, this lane is going the way Immortals expected to, but like you said, Darshan is just soaking it all up.
We'll see if that does start to change as we get closer and closer to that frozen mallet. There is some damage on this turret. You see Huni is slowly whittling away at it as well. But as of right now, yeah, Darshan happy to pick up all of those CS under turret as well.
Doing what he needs to do, really. And we've got some early purple spikes there from CLG's carries as well. Huhi, quick Morellonomicon, so very efficient mid lane item, and Vel'koz and it wants all the things it gives. And the Ghost Blade already done for Stixxay, who got the first blood there as well, and had a share in that first tower gold. Stixxay is again set up to have a big performance this game, and CLG is showing that they're happy to play around him, and when they do, it's usually the right idea.
Oh. Aha, he sees the dragon take off.
Not this time. Ooh, actually, maybe they'll follow in something here. Adrian, oh, he's fine, does get tapped by Aphromoo. Stixxay
going after ReignOver because they have Vel'koz on this side. If they can get him low enough.
Oh, ReignOver does repel out of the way, but it might not be enough here. Damage is still coming in. Aphromoo commits the ultimate for it as well. That's a little keen. The geometry is not there for the Vel'koz, and ReignOver lives.
That's still 3 ultimates, though, to try and attempt to kill ReignOver. So Immortals actually have a little bit more priority on Dragon if they're able to have ReignOver back and get back here. So you have to take it now if you're CLG.
Yeah, ReignOver is delaying the back right now. Actually cancels it.
Oh, that goes over to Xmithie. Is now Aphromoo going to get stunned up. Pobelter actually doing a nice job. Stixxay heals, and he might just be enough to live. Doesn't quite get the snipe, but Adrian does take down Aphromoo. ReignOver. Oh, the trap!
Deathfire touch, and the trap spawns to Marcus Grave.
Pretty good Keystone Mastery, since so many people die to a random
where did that come from?
It's like 4 seconds long as well, so it'll tick for a good while.
Well, a trade there, I suppose. Stixxay, it's the ultimate snipe.
It's like that,
Kills him without even shooting him.
It's like that. Cool guys don't look at explosions. You walk away.
Talk about the tension, though. Pastry literally jumped, by the way, up into the air at that kill. Immortals, though, refocus on this game. They're taking the objective afterwards. Turret goes down. They're going to get that extra global gold. CLG looking to collapse on them and not let them escape.
But Huni almost has ultimate here. This might be a mistake from CLG.
Huhi, I think, he's going to face check a Mega Gnar. Xmithie going to try and save him, but the Gnar lands on the 3 wall follows as well. Huni! Big play, but he does go down. Now Darshan looking to try and chase it down. WildTurtle going to get himself tagged, and Pobelter's in a whole host of trouble. Flat, not going to make it. Ultimate opens up. Stixxay gets the snipe. Looking for more, but he's not going to find any more fish.
Take it back. It's a mistake there for Immortals to stick around. Low mana on Pobelter, and everybody showed up as if they were going to brawl, but no one even in sight that it could actually help them.
Shen is such a good pick versus Immortals.
Oh, yeah.
As we're seeing this game play out and the entire series play out, this has been the consistent strength that CLG have been playing to. To a team that wants to constantly fight, if you have the extra global there from your top laner and the ability to actually hold up in the 1 versus 1 as well, it really means a lot for them, and they do stand united down bottom to get the turret answer.
Yeah, and we're seeing the Gangplank banned every single time on that red side, so you're safe to pick that Shen. Gnar is pretty much the other bad matchup for it, and I thought that this was what was going to be banned in Game 2, but it's been picked by Darshan every single time. He's been able to get his hands on it, and Immortals have just left it up, and it's been incredibly effective every single time. They don't expect this to happen. Huni dedicates himself to it, but look at that double taunt.
Yeah, so even though, Huni does make a good heads-up play here to get the 1 kill onto Huhi, however, the reason CLG pick all this up, they have basically 5 members. With the ability of Jhin to add extra damage from long range and steal that kill, secure that kill, that was pretty much all 5 members taking part in it. Meanwhile, ReignOver was not a participant in that battle.
I actually think it's really smart that they gave that over to Stixxay. Like, let me ulti, let me finish him off. Because of the fact that it's been a 2-threat composition from CLG every single time, and Huhi was already dead. So give it over to the one that's left, give it over to Stixxay, and so that's why he's 3-0-1 right now. He's been getting so much help.
Definitely agree. That was why their Game 1 was so successful for CLG Gaming. Once you get out ahead in a flat armor penetration build and people are trying to catch up because you have another very big magic damage threat, it's very difficult.
Well, this is the new one. Huni actually might get even more of a lead in this top lane. Did get the tower in the replay, I believe, but Rift Herald, which we've barely seen at all today on Summoner's Rift, is actually going to go over to Huni.
It's funny because the only time I really see Rift Herald taken now is when it's for a Gnar or against a Gnar. A lot of the times it's just left out to dry, but Gnars really like it for helping their split pushing.
Definitely is interesting seeing CLG's adaptation in this series compared to their previous series versus TSM. Previously versus TSM, CounterLogic Gaming were the ones focusing top. Well, now they're walking all up there with a bunch of people, and they're looking to dive.
Oh, I think except for the wrong reason. Vel'koz actually does snipe him down. Huni doesn't quite take enough damage because the cocoon from ReignOver is clutch.
Oh yeah, ReignOver puts himself in danger's way there to stop it. And
here comes the snipe.
Oh, Pobelter got tagged again. Shots in, there's the fourth. Where is it? Chris Pobelter, but it's not enough. CLG will take the turret instead.
Exactly, they pushed them off of the turret. WildTurtle back in base, so they didn't even have a good wave clear source there, and Pobelter had to be on defense duty there to stop Huni from going down. And now CLG, they're low on Immortals side. They get to continue to push. They may get a tier 2.
Siege continues. All 5 members have joined, and they're poking down Immortals.
Darshan looks so far forward there, but they're just canceling some backs. Vel'koz poke is good here for the Siege. Stixxay gets himself caught in a traffic cone. That should be okay, and CLG is just going to keep pushing. If the wave joins him in time, they might get another turret. Looks like they'll back away instead, but Drake up in a minute 20. CLG taking real control of this game.
Huge amount of control. All the outer turrets down now for Immortals, and they have to be a lot more wary, of getting out of position. Stand United back available, plus the teleport for Darshan, so many options for CounterLogic Gaming to try and push the issue and further this gold lead. What I was talking about before, though, the adaptation CLG between this series and their series versus TSM. First TSM, they kept giving up Gangplank, a top laner similar to Shen that absorbs in the top lane, has the wave clear and then the global ult, and they were focusing all their efforts up top, but it didn't work for them. They lost 3-0 to TSM trying to focus top, so now they completely focused. They kind of adapted that strategy. They're the ones focusing bottom. They're trying to play aggressive bottom with, a different global, and it is working out a lot better for them.
Big Stixxay certainly set up to carry this game because the Dustblade is now online. CLG gonna have a real big point of strength if Immortals choose to fight them around this Infernal Drake. It's up in 15 seconds. I get the feeling that Immortals maybe don't fancy a fight, but they're not particularly shy about brawling, so maybe I'm wrong there, as Immortals are at least gonna clear out the vision in the area.
Yeah, I'm just looking at where the gold is on these teams. The advantage for Stixxay is only about 1,100 right now, and then the other one is CLG. Xmithie is up 1,200 right now over ReignOver, so he's just been getting out jungled, and just the assistance that Xmithie's been putting on the map and the pressure definitely, like you've been saying, Kobe, justifies that first pick of a RekSai.
Well, Drake is up, so we'll see if CLG want to take it. Darshan can join when he needs to, but Aphromoo gets caught. Now ReignOver actually the one caught in the trap. Propeller's down, he comes straight back towards Xmithie, and that's a flash burn for the Elise. Stixxay landed up again. Adrian not that tanky as the support Trundle. Snipe is there. Oh! Stixxay gets another snipe.
Flash in the straight line. He was trying to get out of the distance, the match distance there for the ultimate, but can't get out of it. Maybe if he flashes left, he gets out of that, but gets caught by somebody else. Then he's giving the money over to a different place. Regardless, CLG, they're moving right up mid lane with that.
Yeah, immediately just put their pressure there. They can go turn onto the Infernal Drake, though. That's what they've been going after this entire time, is just trying to get that Drake for themselves and get that smaller advantage, whereas Huni and Darshan still top lane, brawling it out. Not coming into these fights just yet. Hasn't been an opportunity, but there we go. Here comes Huni. Mega Gnar available.
Wow.
Ultimate up.
Where did Darshan go?
He got interrupted.
All right, we're okay. Oh, never mind, we're not. Xmithie does take it, but WildTurtle burning low. It's actually Immortals that are in trouble. Cross-map play getting awfully complex. But Darshan does stop the TP, CLG do get the Drake, and WildTurtle lives to fight another day.
Very big. Darshan went in and he taunted Huni out of that teleport. So now, not only does he have teleport advantage, but he has Stand United, and CLG also were able to claim the Drake. Huge amount of control for them, especially with the map being so open. What they need to do is start moving up some wards so they can make these picks. They have a Jhin ultimate, they have Vel'koz, really ramping up, so definitely up to them to try and increase this lead.
And you've been talking about how CLG have had an early game advantage in almost every single one of these games. Immortals have struggled to get an early game advantage, even in their semifinal matchup, only having 1 out of those 5 games where they were up early. Same thing is happening here. Immortals just aren't playing the early game well, especially against something like a Shen. They seem to be a little bit paralyzed in their early aggression, and when they get a little too overzealous, they're punished for it.
I feel like the name of the game right now for meta is globals. Jungler influence also cannot be overlooked.
We got to throw that in there.
Yeah.
Junglers, we're still relevant.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Junglers, in a lot of ways, are kind of the global you always have. They're exerting constantly throughout the map. I got you.
The human global. That is honestly why a lot of junglers started jungling as, their main, right? it is a lot about the mind games of guessing where your enemy is, trying to figure that out, what you can do to deny extra information. And speaking of the devil, there they go, exchanging a few blows over the all-important ward.
Nah. It was either that reason for starting jungle, or it was, all these other junglers suck. Let me do this.
Really? For me, it was like, I'd try this. I don't know how to CS. Oh, that's even too hard. Xmithie gets himself exhausted. Tunnels out to Safety. The network's there to save his bacon. Immortals clear out the pink ward, though. Baron is a technical threat, but looks like teams are trying to secure vision on this side of the map with Drake being down.
I think you can really tell that Immortals are on edge after that last play. That was a very quick exhaust on a RekSai that you had not seen use tunnel, plus has tunnels in the area. So Immortals are feeling the heat here as CLG, even though it's not a huge insurmountable goal lead or anything, the pressure on the map, the momentum here of CLG really denying a lot of the vision and moving in with the siege here is getting to Immortals.
Here comes the poke again. We've got the Vel'koz, we've got the Jhin. Immortals just have to get themselves zoned out of the way here. Last shot lands. It actually does tag Pobelter. Decent amount of damage there, but things are okay for now. Stixxay not quite where he was in that first game, but he's starting to approach real points of power.
Yeah, the hinge that Immortals need to get to is that Huni can actually really make some work. Uh-oh, they get a good move!
Oh, Aphromoo moves in to save him. And Huhi's now going to get himself out of the way. Cassiopeia throws out the ulti, but I think it was just to defend. ReignOver getting himself chunked out as Xmithie wants it. He chases forward, but that's a little too aggressive. Cocooned in there as Immortals to stand upon him, but Darshan moves in with the Stand United to try and save him, and CLG always have each other's backs.
That means they give up their pressure bottom. Huni is actually not taking the turret, though. He was recalling here. Okay, now they signal him, hey, stop. You can get a little bit of extra work done. I think it's too dangerous to stick around, though, because CLG do back off after that display. Nobody dying in the exchange, though.
Yeah, it's just a back and forth trading over and over again. The wave clear as well. Immortals, yeah, Huni sticks around, gets a little bit more damage here. He could have had more.
Yeah, I mean, look, toggle the vision on the map right now, because the Immortals' vision is very, very slim. They do see, that's actually, yeah, that's a, there we go. But now Jin's coming down and they don't see him coming.
Exactly, they don't see Jhin coming.
Oh, Dustblade proc, see ya, Huni.
Yeah, he had used his hop to get more attack speed on the turret. It has a little buff on it that not a lot of people are very conscious of. You hop, you get a little bit of attack speed from it, and instead uses it, did not escape, so he has to wait for it so long.
Yeah, Immortals kind of falling apart here in the late stages. Crucial calls, you know, sticking around, trying to get that turret. That thing had a lot of health, and CLG make a pretty easy collapse to take him down. Again, though, if Immortals calm down and refocus in this game, they're not that tremendously far behind that they can't get back. They've got a Sivir. They have Cassiopeia. Like, they have plenty of damage for the late game and a decent front line.
It just feels like this is the toughest point in the game for Immortals to get through, because CLG, they're playing with pressure, and their poke and siege is ridiculous with the Vel'koz and the Jhin.
Oh yeah, and the Jhin is 5-0-1 right now. He has all of the kills on his team that where they need them. He's only missed out on 2.
Well, we might have another scuffle on our hands. Immortals going to force something. Huni with a good flank, but he needs to build the rage. Ultimate out there from, not quite yet, as Xmithie dives in. Aphromoo trying to protect Huhi, but he does get sniped. Damage is still there on the backside, and Stixxay open fires. WildTurtle wants the target. That's the target he wants to try and snipe. Waiting patiently for the balls, but Huni ready with the Magnar. Misses the crunch over the walls. ReignOver does slay Darshan. Stixxay gets out of the ulti and tries to turn it all around, but Turtle still putting the team on his back. Looking good as CLG just dropped that one.
Yeah, Xmithie's been twirling that gun for a while. He's been trying to get that crit off, and they just keep avoiding it. And now Huni gonna get the slow, the frozen mallet.
Has to go in. Oh my god! Destroys ReignOver as Xmithie getting chased.
You have to respect the crit
Huni's
from
in.
Jhin.
He's in deep. He gets the double. And Immortals, they will not go quietly today.
I told you, man, they just need to calm down, refocus, they get their 5-on-5, good flank from Huni, and they can try and finish off that turret that cost us death.
Oh yeah,
before.
that was calm.
fair.
They do get the turret. The thing's looking good. Let's watch it again.
Yeah, so Huni actually TPs to that pink ward down there, goes around the bottom side, and then he shows himself here, and they look like they're gonna jump on him. Oh, jumps away with the exhaust being used, and he got the slow onto Huhi. It's what they needed, and then it just goes from there.
Unfortunately, we aren't allowed to finish any replays because these teams are just fighting too much. Gold nice and even though, so Drake is up, so CLG will consolidate, pick themselves up their 3rd Drake of the game. That is a good little lead here for CLG. as they approach kind of the next little breakpoints, but Immortals have closed the gap pretty nicely with the last section of plays, and once again, we find ourselves in this series with a very close game.
Whew. Definitely exciting here. All right, let's see how they turn their sights towards Baron, because not only did Immortals get a bunch of gold back after that play and get that bottom turret, but they got time to put up some more wards. You can see now they've got decent control of the river, and they've been moving in here, trying to get the scuttle, but it looks like Xmithie actually still king of the scuttle.
Loops around, zones him off. Throws a prey seeker, get out of here.
RekSai's like, come with me, I'm just one of you.
Does manage to corral the crab around, and that will go over to ReignOver.
Lures him into fog of war and kills him. Great. Now they'll never trust again.
Meanwhile, turret goes down in the mid lane. CLG, that scuttle crab, you know, maybe it was baiting Xmithie away.
Works out, I guess. Immortals do take themselves another turret here. Next Drake's an important one, but it's not up for quite a while yet, so teams are going to look to play around the top side, and CLG still have that sideline pressure with the Shen. We'll see how CLG continue to kind of play up in this game.
Yeah, and we're talking about playing up with them. The key damage dealers on this team, Stixxay and Huhi, I've been noticing Stixxay's build. He did this as well previously. His rapid fire cannon third, even though it's an armor penetration build, gets a little bit of that extended range, and that's what he's looking for is in those extended fights when he's kiting backwards. He wants that last shot, you know, walk a little bit, get that last shot off, have the chance to crit in between.
Things have calmed down quite a bit more. CLG, I think, pumping the brakes because Immortals had such a wonderful display before. Feeling confident, of course. They can't see the gold lead. Immortals are actually up, but both teams kind of aware of what happened throughout the series, so they are going to play it a little more patiently. Objectives are up, but CLG's siege, unfortunately, has stopped, which I think is good news for Immortals. They're happy to take the farm sort of as it comes to them and then sort of take over with their Sivir Cassiopeia comp. Still looking for the Vel'koz though, Kobe, because again, I had tried to doubt them last time and they still have plenty of damage.
All right, well, currently, yeah, they want to set up their split push here with Darshan in the bottom side on Shen, so they can make use of the Stand United. Huhi, or Huni, does have a teleport coming off cooldown pretty soon though, so after they push up mid lane, they can send him back to go handle that wave and handle that push from Darshan, and just collect the minions at the turret.
And it looks like Baron might be on the table soon for Immortals. They're trying to get control of the area, sweep it out a little bit.
Ooh, maybe caught here. Pobelter attacked again. He's magnetized with his bullets, but Adrian's going to face tank him. Not too much damage just yet. Elise repels out of the way, and CLG they'll push down the mid lane, try and see if they can't take something here. This is the right area to try and control.
Yep, trying to chunk them out before the siege begins. That did take half of Adrian's life. Now, this is a support on the front line, so he is a bit more squishy. No, hasn't built any of his own armor. Just gonna be there for the magic resistance aura though. Meanwhile, bottom lane, they're actually trading kind of heavily on opposite sides.
Yeah, if they can get the inside path onto Huni though, because right now they can all just run towards him, but that's gonna be Immortals running towards the Baron because they want to stop that possibility.
Huni has had also one hell of a series, up almost 50 CS there. Glimpse of the Void maybe helping out quite a bit. And Darshan again, he's been kind of taking punches, but Huni's still showing up on champions that we maybe didn't expect as much from him. His Gnar's looking pretty good so far, and the Immortals just want to get over the line and have this series done with CLG. Not particularly interested in that outcome. And we have another close game in our hands as that Drake is up soon-ish.
CLG have to be very careful not to leave Stixxay behind. This has happened before, and Stixxay has most of the gold. 7 kills all on him on the Jhin. If Immortals can get to the back line, you know, Huni has done this multiple times where he takes out Stixxay by himself. That's a huge amount of CLG's power that would not be available. Currently though, pushing up mid lane again, battling over this mid lane turret.
Burn the ulti onto Adrian, looking to try and get a kill. Not enough there from the passive at CLG. Wide open space to try and take the turret. Immortals though, easy defense it seems, between the Sivir and the Cassio.
Yep, that's the big thing about Sivir, always talking about her wave clear in the mid game here, definitely easy, and they're trying to stall out. Turtle's working on that infinity edge, fairly close to it, can almost touch it.
And when he crests that point, that'll be when those team fights really turn online for Immortals, because they already have the Rylai's Crystal Scepter, and Pobelter's looking for that Seraph's Embrace soon so that he can crest and have a little bit more defense available to him. Because he's died the most on his team so far. He's been a prime target. They've been trying to play through mid lane, through that Vel'koz and pushing up. How many times have they been in that mid tier 2? Actually quite a bit.
Felt like it was all lined up well. Xmithie does claim the top side Scuttle Crab, so we'll have key Baron vision for a little while as that Infernal Drake is up now in a minute 10. Stixxay massacres a poor creep wave there in top lane. And he's just casually sitting in CLG's red side jungle, hoping to find a lucky winner. Although I don't think Darshan's who he's looking for. He's probably a 1v1 just about anyone else.
Darshan's like, I didn't enter that lotto. I don't want to.
I didn't sign up for this at all. And soon he's just going to take the red buff instead. That's his prize. He'll take it, I suppose. And again, Immortals, because they're playing significantly more passive than I'm used to seeing them. Both these teams are treading very carefully.
It's been a lot of setup for these objectives and then fighting every now and then. There was a very bloody game that had more than a kill per minute previously, but now it's a little bit slower than that. And this Infernal Drake may get some of that action soon, though.
You can understand the care the teams are putting in, though, because the series has gone so back and forth. Teams taking, the necessary precautions here. Nobody wants to throw away a game at a silly point.
Yeah, I mean, this is game point for Immortals. If they take this, they do secure their third spot and the extra championship points. I have to say, this is one of the most exciting third place series that I've ever seen.
CLG lining up for that Drake. It's up right now, but Immortals already in the area to contest. Looks like we are going to have a fight on our hands.
Huni.
They've kind of swapped sides of the map for right now.
Huni doesn't have any rage on Gnar. He is trying to flank around behind, but he's just going to do it as mini. So has to hold his distance once he gets there.
Gets caught by Darshan, but doesn't quite land the taunt. Immortals now can collapse into the Drake, which they might just happy to take for themselves. They are going to get it here, but Huhi doing good damage there. At least not going to quite go down. ReignOver though has to be careful. Flashes out, and the locket's going to save his life. Stixxay uses the ulti to get him. Huni's got to run away as well.
CLG split focus there. They weren't able to chase anyone down, and the pillar does interrupt the tunnel here.
Beautiful. Beautiful pillar.
Not tagged. Immortals actually kind of running a weird way out, but they will get out to safety, and they did claim the Drake.
ReignOver having to flash away 3 consecutive times from this Vel'koz damage, but he got the Drake, and he got out with his life. So mission accomplished there for Private ReignOver.
Pretty much the best you could hope for there. To not get taken out by both of the snipers, honestly, because this is just such a long range, sit there, set up, and actually just deal your damage from CLG. They haven't actually really combined them so much yet. That was pretty much the closest we've gotten to both the Vel'koz and the Jhin.
It's been such a tense series. Stixxay had a wonderful start to this game, but Immortals have brought it all the way back. It does feel like it really is these two 80 carries fighting against each other here.
Yeah, I have to say, even though nobody died there and people aren't really getting too amped up for that last Drake fight, that was very crucial. That would have been 2 Infernal Drakes stacking up for CLG. Pretty big momentum. Even being down in gold, that's a lot of power, having the extra Drake advantage that they have been able to accrue. But Immortals evening it up towards the late game does really matter for them.
And you always think about a Jhin with more AD. He gets way more than anybody else, so Infernal Drakes are so good on him too.
Starting to feel like we're in for maybe another long game here. Well, almost at 35 minutes here. The next dragon will be Elder. The Immortals are just trying to find the poke their way in, but no one wants to play a little too crazy. In a lot of ways, it feels like CLG inherited Immortals' aggression, and Immortals kind of inherited CLG's macro game, and they've been playing against each other with a ton of push and pull in this series. Again, it's delicate, I think is the right word for it. Even Darshan and Huni in that very even matchup, despite the CS lead that Huni has, Darshan's still done a pretty admirable job.
Yeah, it is a pretty massive lead here, and Huni hasn't really unlocked the map like we've known from Huni in the past, right? He's not playing one of those enormous carries, because Darshan, at the same time, even if he was, he's just soaking it. Making sure that he's playing a little bit like Impact was in the series that Immortals played, where you try to play through top lane, they're having none of it. You can't get through that guy. He's just taking the pressure away, and they make plays on other sides of the map. Basically neutralizing a big threat.
Uh-oh, here we go, though. They're collapsing on Pobelter, and Jhin ultimate pops.
Yeah, Pobelter already burnt his ulti as well. They need to tag him, but Pobelter just slithers away in time. That ghost comes up real clutch.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty big cooldown there used. Now, Pobelter did use the Cassiopeia ultimate as well in the disengage. It comes up very quickly, though. They'll be sure to wait for that. That is a crucial part of their team fight, just as much as the Jhin ultimate for CLG. It will be needed.
Huni's pressure is actually starting to mount here. That one Rift Herald may have actually swung enough to at least get some pressure, and like Darshan is struggling a little now.
Yeah, I mean, the Black Cleaver stacks up really quickly on him, so he shreds right through the armor. And then the extra slow there from Frozen Mount makes it hard to maneuver around the turret. Darshan starting to take a beating.
And those extra Rift Herald pops, too, onto the turret to just have that little extra damage.
Like, Huni's actually legitimately pulling pressure. In fact, he
Yeah,
might even
there you
try and take this. Darshan's going to rush his way back, but that turret takes a big chunk of damage. Huni going to keep going for it, hops his way out. Very slick. Gets snared up. Oh, no, that's maybe not good. Huni okay, though. Dustblade trigger, not enough to kill him.
Can CLG work with this momentum, though, because that's a huge amount of health.
Whoa! WildTurtle!
That's a solo kill, too.
Turtle walked in the line of fire there. Huni had made his escape. Well, maybe we'll get a replay of that, because it didn't seem necessary. But both summoners and ultimate used.
Yeah.
CLG definitely pressing it now.
This is the power play. They have to go. Now they're going to snare one up. They look for Pobelter, but don't find him. Nice ult to disengage with the slow. Doesn't quite tag him. Xmithie flush and borrows onto Pobelter. His Darshan's in there as well. Does get the kill on CLG with 2 key kills.
And now they're going to turn onto that Baron. All they have to do is make sure ReignOver doesn't get into that pit and try to get a smite steal. And that could be CLG getting some tools that they need to get these structures and start closing out the game.
Meanwhile, Immortals looking to harass here. Huni is a menace with the frozen mallet, pelting them.
Yeah, Darshan actually taking a little too much. Adrian with a nice pillar. Xmithie is staying on the Baron. Aphromoo commits the ultimate, but it whiffs. Missing everyone there. And CLG, this is so dangerous.
They're getting softened up.
They have
really
to hard commit to this.
Ulti out again from Vel'koz, but it's not quite enough damage. Huni very tanky as Stixxay opens fire with the curtain call again. Getting damage on Huni, but he's trying to take him out. Big crit, but they actually have to pull off the objective now. Immortals successful in stopping CLG. Oh, Stixxay! Takes out Huni, and now ReignOver going to get caught. CLG turn it back around again. Repel's going to save him. Here comes WildTurtle. And Stixxay again. Such a big play.
Oh my goodness, just when you think they're done, Pastry, and they start to disengage, Stixxay flashes in with the Jhin, add another one to the kill count. 8 now for him.
And has that infinity edge as well. Just these big crits coming out, and you do not expect that type of damage to come out that quickly. He's doing a really good job of sitting on that crit for when he needs it, and even just hitting minions on the side before he gets to it, and then is saving that shot.
And there might be a little bittersweet for CLG, but there's something about this kid in playoff games.
Immortals were able to stop the Baron, though. That was their main goal here. You can see them harassing a lot. And even with the Vel'koz on him, you can see how tanky Huni is at this point. Gets softened up right here, though, turns mini, and then we get a look at it. That's his reaction to Stixxay's flash in.
Oh, Pobelter's dead. That is tragedy for Immortals.
Again?
Yeah, unlucky.
He basically just spawned too, and doesn't even look like Seraph's Embrace or anything was able to be used there.
They're going to trade this one for Elder Dragon. Immortals are all going towards the opposite objective. Can CLG stop them and claim the Baron?
Aphromoo and Huhi are already down there. Xmithie does have the ulti. He uses it now. Has to get in. Elder Dragon low. Can he steal it? No, Elise is going to claim it. Immortals stop some of the bleeding.
They take it away, and they're able to get back almost here. Inside track for CLG. They'll at least be able to get this one turret.
TP in, let's go. CLG going to try and take this one down. Darshan playing in the front lines as well. Immortals have to defend for Pobelter. 15 seconds till he's back.
Yeah, and this Elder Dragon, it's not that great because it's only got one Drake behind it. But right here, ReignOver on the side, they're just dealing damage to this turret. They're just trying to muscle it down.
They're going to take it. It will fall here. Pobelter back up. 3 seconds. CLG. Do they want to commit for this inhibitor? They don't. It's a little too dicey. Immortals look for an exit kill. Darshan threatens again with the taunt. Stixxay going to miss that snare. ReignOver definitely dodges it. CLG, you cannot get greedy here.
Some critical picks for CLG in the last few minutes of the gameplay here. WildTurtle and Pobelter both going down to those long-range snipes. And Xmithie as well had a flank to cut off the disengage from Immortals and really bring it all together. Now with Baron buff, they can return to the siege and try and get more.
Time for these players to take a deep breath. CLG, seems like they're in position to force it down, but again, the goal is so close. We're late into the game. Again, it's just going to come down to execution, and both these teams have shown such incredible mettle all series long. Game 3, I don't know if I could have flipped 100 coins in a row and figured out like what the result of that game was going to be.
They kind of did.
Yeah, I mean, that's sort of
fight after fight.
like. CLG are kind of poised to do some damage here and open up a window, but window's real small.
Oh yeah, Gnar looking to hop through the window though. Huni's found a way into the back line.
Might have busted through the wall here. Stixxay has to cut it out. Aphro blocks everything. Xmithie makes it back to his team. Aphro doing so much work to block him out of CLG. Just have to kite back. Now Stixxay opens fire once more. Tagging in onto Huni. Vel'koz ulti's not bad. Last crit shot. Is it going to go? It actually crits Adrian to almost death.
Mega Gnar about to pop for Huni as well. He's letting it calm down right now. Actually, it already, yeah, it did pop. And they're going to have to disengage because of that huge chunk onto the back line as well. CLG, they don't get anything out of it, though. Immortals actually stall out on the push. That wasn't a bad move at all for them. You know, they delay this Baron buff of CLG and buy more time for them to wait it out.
Yeah, they buy time for themselves to wait out that Baron buff, but also that Dragon didn't really get anything for Immortals in that time.
Yeah, the stealing away that Elder Drake, I think, is more a takeaway to remove one of those neutral objectives from the possibility of CLG taking them. Uh-oh, here we go, though. Some extra trading.
Yeah, Huni building up rage. Baron cannon, not enough there to deter Immortals. Huni TPing in! Very deep flank being attempted here. CLG.
He's got Mega.
They need Sivir ultimate to bring this together, though, because CLG are already disengaged.
Turtle's already popped it. They're looking for it. Huni, they have to keep him out. They need the Mega Gnar to dissipate. Wallop not going to hit onto Xmithie.
Careful about the re-engage here. Counter logic could turn it around. And Immortals are going to respect that and back off.
Yeah, the fact that the CLG backed off and went to the correct area and avoided that TP from Huni now just gives them a lot of options. And here we go, curtain call.
Finding ReignOver, damage is decent, but he's pretty tanky at this stage of the game. CLG just going to push down mid. They're trying to force this down.
Now they have those minions, though, the ones that they set in motion on the top lane. They're at the inhibitor, and it might buy them a little bit of time, but they're feeling very cautious about heading through that small corridor.
Huni is looking to make pretty interesting play here. Snare not going to land. He hops out to safety. Immortals, do they fancy a re-engage here?
And they kind of need CLG to walk into one of those corridors so they can get the Cassiopeia ultimate, the Gnar ultimate. These things that, uh-oh, here they go, actually.
Yeah, a big corridor.
Yeah, well, Turtle's going to run down. Who actually going to get protected by the Stand United. Ulti hits
ReignOver.
Xmithie. Vector down. ReignOver is dead. CLG 5v4 again as Darshan leaps in with the Randuins plus the taunt. Pobelter
Huni has
ulti. Huni, they have to keep him out of the way, or they can CC him to death. He flashes out front of the Vel'koz knock-up. CLG still on the power play.
Yeah, Immortals forced that one a little bit, running right down the mid lane, kind of telegraphed. CLG turned it around with the Shen Stand United and the re-engage. No further pickoffs, though.
And a lot of CC there onto ReignOver. Got him before he could get the cocoon in the right spot.
Right now, though, if Immortals can install, there's a big minion wave on the bottom lane that is crashing into CLG inhibitor turret at the moment, and it's doing a lot of work for them.
Yeah, and that was one that was weakened previously by Huni. So it may go down. This is a lot. That's a crowd.
It's dead.
It's like the Air Canada Center's on that day.
Well, the minions for Immortals open up a nice little space in the bottom lane that they could look to play to. CLG tried to force their way in, see if they couldn't do more damage, but that'll cost them there. See how Immortals look to play around that. Baron's up in 145. Hold the Dragon not up for a little while because that's a 10-minute spawn after Immortals took it. But if this game goes late enough, we may see our second Elder Dragon, which is a very rare sight indeed.
Yes, it is. You know it's a long game when you get Elder Dragon Jr. popping up.
It has been a long time since I've seen a best of 5 where a lot of the games get to 40 minutes and the gold is just flat even. You'll see that maybe 1 game, 2 games, 3 games. It's absolutely absurd right now how CLG are playing to the level of this team that was #1 in spring, #2 in summer, and was expected to be a finalist both times. And now Immortals, they have to play on the back foot for half of these games. They don't have early game leads, and it's coming down to these fights later on.
Really is coming together. CLG with pretty much the entire summer split of struggle, trying to get back to this point. Now Immortals looking to push them off of it as they have their sights set on that 3rd place spot.
CLG, plenty of pressure to play with in the side lanes between Darshan and Xmithie with their globals. Immortals, though, looking to stake claim to the Baron area, but it's not up for about 35 seconds. They'll have a decent shot of vision right now. In fact, both teams are pretty blind in that area. In general, the wards get less because the inventories get a little too full. Very dangerous to be walking around these parts without your team.
And one of the great things about Cassiopeia, she doesn't have to buy boots. You get a 6th item, you get a lot more AP. Now, as Pobelter will get to that point, he's going to have a lot of power behind him.
Yep, so far, 80 carries are maxed out. Top laners and junglers pretty close to that point. Meanwhile, it is about the pushing here on the side lane. Darshan getting a little bit of answer damage, while the 4-man squad of CLG moves up. Now, keep track of the deep wards here for Immortals as well. Huni's teleport is back off of cooldown. He's got the rage bar in the perfect place. So some of these wards here in the blue quadrant of CLG's jungle are an opportunity for him to try that again. And this time, if they could have Sivir ultimate sync up and actually close the gap there a second earlier, then Immortals might be able to show you what they wanted that team fight to look like.
Feels like this game and maybe the series is just going to be determined by these minute windows of opportunity. Baron is back alive and on the table as an objective. See if the teams do want to go for it. Immortals move their way in. They'll clear out the vision. CLG now forced to check the area.
Yeah, and this is a Cassiopeia. They can do this so quickly if Immortals jump on it. But look at this. They know that they're split.
Oh, Huni actually got tagged by Aphromoo, but the rest of CLG are in trouble. Aphromoo turns it around. Vel'koz also going to shred down ReignOver, but it's not quite enough. Stixxay does kill ReignOver in the end, and Aphro's tanking so much.
Huni in the back.
Pobelter goes down. Huni trying to do what he can. He gets the double wallop, but now going to get himself stunned. Xmithie kites his way away. Does have the GA and CLG. I think they're doing it. Huni dead. Good knock up there after the GA. CLG claim a couple.
Can they chase down more? It looks like Turtle's going the deep end here into CLG territory through the turrets, and he's trying to kite him out.
Flash on from Darshan. CLG going to make this efficient as they look to take down Turtle. Turtle is just buying time. His team on his back.
He's heel.
Trying to kite away.
And flashes
over to the enemy base. Spell shields an auto from the RekSai and stands his ground. Darshan claims him, but what a hero.
Meanwhile, Stixxay and Huhi are pushing up the bottom lane, trying to get into the base.
And Adrian's the one who's left here just to try and buy some time. The TP from Darshan looks like he's going to try to get up here.
His death time is long, but maybe not long enough. CLG, how are you feeling? How much do you want to press to try and force this game 5?
Well, ReignOver's about to come up, then 20 more seconds on Huni after that. I wouldn't try and grab too much, the way these games have been going.
Especially since Elder Dragon is in 1 minute right now. If you end up dying, you would be dead for that fight.
Baron is on the Rift as well already, and definitely could be used to quickly push through the base, or Baron Empowered Recall to try and protect your Nexus.
And this is an attempt at a flank from Xmithie and Huni. Huni ends up right here, but Xmithie's on the backside on the left, and this is great. Pobelter interrupts Huhi, but there's still just so much damage.
Yeah, look at the collapse here onto the back line of CLG. They peel for Stixxay and Huhi just barely. Huhi uses both summoners. He's able to barely get out. Look at that. That must be sub 50 HP right there on him. Then Stixxay zones the back line here. Turtle didn't get to go back in at all there. And barely coming out ahead. CLG are able to take control of the map. We'll see if this turns into a Baron bait. As the tables have turned, we'll see if vision control comes up next.
Gonna have to get off Turtle's wild right at the end of the replay, unfortunately, because both big objectives are back up here, and Huni's gone back in for it.
That can't build his Mega Gnar just yet, so he's just getting this chip damage in the Frozen Mallet.
Remember, a lot of summoners were boned in the last
Darshan.
fight.
Sneaky, sneaky Shen. Dustblade's gonna proc. Huni takes some damage.
Huni is the only one with flash besides it. Well, never mind, it's not gonna matter. Here we go.
Buying time. They're gonna try and make it work here for Darshan. He's getting pressure into the other lane.
What I meant to say is all of the CLG members are flashless, and the back line has no escape. So Huni's flash, very important here for Gnar. If he can get into the back line, a great Mega Gnar can still win it for Immortals. CLG moving over to the Baron, though.
Exactly. They're moving over to Baron. They have a drop portal in the mid lane, and they have Darshan pushing bottom. He's on the Nexus turrets right now.
He's still going for it. We got a race on our hands. CLG gonna check Immortals here. Darshan doing what he can. Immortals desperate. Baron here. Turtle gets blown up by Huhi, and now Xmithie gonna charge in to try and take it out. CLG are gonna claim the Baron with a Stixxay crit. Claim the teamfight. They get it all.
Game 5, here we come. Silver Scrapes, start playing.
Yeah, cue the music, boys and girls. Huni gonna try try and save the day. He's actually doing decent damage here, but he doesn't quite have it all. Huni still alone now, gets tagged in as Darshan chases him in. Mini Gnar will be destroyed here. And CLG gonna push to try and close it out as Adrian is the only one left alive.
The damage dealers are dead. CLG are looking to take us to Game 5.
Let's go, because CLG gonna try and move out the Nexus. Darshan and the rest of his crew will stand united indeed, blow up the Nexus, and I wouldn't have it any other way. It is Game 5 time. I told you!
You right, Pastry, you right.
I just had a feeling.
Man, everybody is very happy that you're right. Game number 5, and if this series is any indication, it is going to be a close nail-biter.
It is quite the barn burner already. 50-minute games back to back.
And the reason that the ending of that one looks so strange with Immortals rushing into what looked like a death sentence inside the Baron pit is because of what you just mentioned off screen, Zirene. The split-pushing Shen put a timer on that. If they didn't rush it and force that, then they were going to lose to the split push pressure.
Yeah, it's so good by CLG to force that catch-22 situation where if you go after the Baron, you're losing your base. If you go after Darshan, well, you're going to lose the Baron, and then maybe you'll lose your base afterwards. So they're putting them in really difficult situations that they have to have really clear heads about, and Immortals right now just seem a little bit scattered.
Well, we are taking this series to 5 games. So let's pass it back to Riven the analyst to break down the action.